Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. Let's talk about what we got going on in the market. We're going to be specifically talking about the macro indexes, the macro market, and specifically talking about Palantir and Nvidia, what to expect here, especially coming up Friday. We have some big events that are occurring that could bring a lot of volatility into these individual stocks and the AI industry in general. Now, in terms of the general market, we are actually seeing a report that could increase the probability of those first interest rate cuts, which is what Wall Street is actually wanting to see these signs of the economy slightly cooling off, because that means inflation correlates with that. However, we don't want this to pick up too quick, falling into a downward spiral, leading more into recession fears. So we have a lot to talk about. If you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, supporting a smaller content creator. And of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen here, what we see with Palantir Technologies. Actually, some decent buying pressure today. Now, could this be some market momentum due to the fact that we do have the S&P 500 quarterly board review that's going to be taking place on June 7th. We'll be covering this later in the video too, but if PLTR gets included in that, we could have some buying pressure and some market capitalization increase due to the fact of all of the general funds that are tracking the big indexes such as the S&P 500. Now, in terms of technical analysis, we see PLTR have good buying pressure coming into the markets today. One thing that it is facing right now, and even especially going into tomorrow's trading session, is a resistance point. You can see right here, we've seen multiple touch points right at about this 2230 area. This 2230, 2220 area is a big resistance point. If PLTR is able to break out and hold above that, I think we could see possibly in the short term here, combined with the hype of the possible S&P 500 inclusion coming Friday, we could possibly see a push to the mid-20s. That's where I sit right now. Now, specifically, let's quickly talk about the market and what we do have with the big indexes, because in the global market, national market, you got Dow Jones, S&P 500, NASDAQ, just slightly up, basically at 0%, slight consolidation on the day. This comes after a reported suggestion that the jobs market is cooling from a report. Now, this signal is showing a slowing economy that actually offers both upsides and downsides for Wall Street. We have, in correlation with this, treasury yields that are actually sliding after this morning report showed that U.S. employers were advertising fewer job openings at the end of April. Now, like I talked about at the beginning of this video, Wall Street actually doesn't mind this, seeing that the overall economy is slowing, that this could help convince the Fed, like I said, to implement those first interest rate cuts. That's what we're hoping on, that would ease pressure on the financial markets. However, we just don't want this to overshoot and end up in a painful recession. I can't agree anymore with this article right here, talking about this would carry too much of a downside if we see this kind of capitulation of the jobs market that continues to decline. But right now, looking good for interest rates. And that's where we lead into Palantir. And specifically, we're also going to be talking about Nvidia, because their stock split is set to happen after the market on June 7th. So like I said, exciting things happening here in the next few days. Now, talking about Palantir, we kind of mentioned this last video a little bit, but I want to go more in depth here, is that analysts are actually revising PLTR stock prices. And this is even after the fact that we've had that $480 million contract, remember, with the Maven Smart System project through the U.S. Army. Of course, a great contract to help bring momentum, and this could be also why we're seeing some price action in the positive here for PLTR. With this bullish prognosis right here, PLTR, what you have here from this Lake Geneva investor, says that it could grow 5 times in its value, which will result in a share price of over $100. Now, that is a very, very bullish prediction, and specifically looking, how does that basically pair to what a lot of the analysts are saying right now? Specifically, in terms of the actual Wall Street analyst, average price target is at 22.11. If we look at the current price where we had trading close today, that was at 22.10 and sitting at 22.13 right now where we speak. So basically, PLTR is at the average price target for all these combined analysts right here, 12 analysts right here in the past 3 months. Now, looking at the higher end of the things, we've seen Webush, Dan Ives, they've all seen $35. We've seen that. And also on the flip side, the lowest, the bearish side, $9 that's coming from RBC Capital. Now, what we talk about with 2211, it's great to see that we're sitting right at that average target. And leading into the booming business that we have seen, positive quarter, really a great quarter in terms of the actual report. The only change, and I think a little bit of an over justification, dramatization, I would say, was the fact that they changed their future guidance slightly to be honest that, hey, they weren't going to be meeting these metrics that Wall Street keeps pinning on PLTR to keep doing, better. Eventually, PLTR has to be honest and say, hey, we're not going to be able to keep up with these crazy expectations that you guys are expecting every single quarter. With that, we still have really good numbers to celebrate. And that is even 40% year-over-year commercial revenue, 69% increase year-over-year in commercial customer account. The balance sheet is looking very victorious for PLTR. And the fact that they almost have no debt on hand, I think is incredibly important, especially right now looking into what could be happening if we did have any potential for a recession. PLTR does have the resources for a rainy day. And this is specifically why it is one of the most searched stocks right now, including with the whole AI demand. We're not seeing any types of sign of this cooling off. So with that being said, Palantir is going to carry at a high valuation. It's going to carry that for a good amount of time until we see any type of cooling off into the AI industry. I just don't see Palantir that is going to trade at a fair value price in the near future, which means if a lot of people are always taking a bullish perspective, it's always going to be at a high valuation. You're always going to see that criticism there, and that is just kind of the inherent risk and speculation that comes with investing into an individual stock like Palantir. Now, talking here, like I said, quarterly review for the S&P 500. Happening here, the announcement on June 7th, rebalance when that's actually going to take an effect is June 21st. We've talked about this in many videos. I don't want to beat this nail with the hammer over and over and over again. But with this, don't obsess over it. That's what I'm doing. I'm not obsessing over Palantir getting into the S&P 500. I think it'll only be a positive catalyst, as we've seen historically as stocks do join the S&P 500. They get about a 5 to a 7% increase, like I said, just due to all those funds that are purchasing those larger index funds. Now, with that, you also have Nvidia that is kind of taking the world by storm right now. And they also have a very important event that's happening on June 7th, and that is the 10-for-1 stock split, which means if you have one share, you're going to have 9 additional ones. They also, of course, announced their dividend payout. And we have Elon Musk that's coming into the table here with a headline today, talking that they said they will give Nvidia stock a $4 billion boost in 2024. And this is due to the fact that Elon Musk's new venture, XAI, plans on using Nvidia chips. We've seen this before in the headlines before. However, he brought an update this morning on their actual AI plans, and specifically Elon Musk says that the electric vehicle firm will spend between 3 to 4 billion, billion with a B, on chips from Nvidia in 2024. That is this year, ladies and gentlemen, that Tesla is coming out here publicly, the CEO saying they're going to spend 3 to 4 billion. And what you see in terms of stock trading for Nvidia is still holding at these record highs. $1,164. I remember when analysts were talking about a $1,200 price target. I thought that was crazy, and this is a reality right now, which really shows you what can happen in the market. What you need to know for the stock split. Number one, this is going to be happening June 7th after market close, and the actual trading of the stock being split will start on June 10th at market opening. That's going to be this following Monday. One big thing on why Nvidia is splitting its shares is because it's going to make the stock ownership of actual more incremental shares, not just fractional shares, more accessible to employees and investors. This helps create attractiveness across the board. In addition, we're also going to see options volatility that's going to be picking up because now the price to control 100 shares in each contract is going to be a lot more accessible and cheaper compared to controlling 100 shares at $1,100 a piece. We also have them announcing their dividend. So big things for Nvidia. This is really bullish. They're going to probably be entering the Dow 30. That's my guess here in the short term. We're going to see bullishness that continues across with the AI industry. We're not seeing signs of it cooling down. We'll be keeping you guys up to date because we have more economic data that's going to be coming out also this Friday. That's going to be having some key indicators on inflation. I want to know in your comments in the discussion, thank you guys so much for watching. What do you think is going to be happening here in the short terms for both of these stocks? And also, what do you think is going to be happening with the jobs report? We have more data on that coming out. And do you think the probability of those interest rates is going to be cut? Do you think that's being increased for interest rate cuts? I want to know what you guys all think. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.